welcome back to Growing with the Gold Garden Sessions. I'm Michael Beck, here to check in on the seeds we started last week. One thing I want to note is I did, right after our video, take a minute, notice how cold it was going to be, and dug around in my shed and pulled out an old heat mat from Hydro Farm that's been my trusted heat mat for starting seeds for years and years and years, or whether you're taking clones or anything you need to give that little extra attention to. So I got the heat mat under here, and that really helped a lot on our super cold nights. We've been down in the high 20s, low 30s throughout the last week. And here we are to check in on our progress on the variety of seeds that we planted in the variety of Royal Gold mixes. So we're going to pop off the top, take a quick look, and talk about what the differences are and what we're seeing for success rate with each different crop. So here we have our basement mix. That was the first one here on the end that we started in. And as you can see, we've got a pretty great number of germinations here. Most cells have some sort of germination going on. We've got some pretty established seedlings in all the different crops, right? We left these rows here and here empty to space things out. We've got our borage. Only got a couple borage seeds popping. Peas, wow, we got some success. Peas are one of the easiest things to grow, so we anticipated that. Next, we have our Lacinato kale. Again, great germination rate. We have 2 empty cells. I anticipate that we'll get at least one more of those coming in the next week or so. And up to our broccoli, again, 2 plus 1 more. We got 3 empty cells, but again, pretty good germination rates. And you can see these are just fresh. Some of these seeds are so tiny and just poking out. So again, I anticipate we're going to get a few more out of this. And you can see where I was saying, oh, well, these are tiny seeds, let's throw a couple extra in. Well, it worked. We've got extras. These we can thin out as the plants get a little more established. As they kind of fill out these cells with roots, we might lose a couple naturally. That's okay. In fact, it's preferred. Let the weak ones die off, let the strong ones make it to the garden. So next we move on to the next tray, which is our King's Mix. You see we've got a few happy starts, but significantly less than the basement mix. That's a little bit of a surprise to me. I do think we'll end up with about an equal success rate given a few more days, but as of right now, in these crops, for the most part, it appears that the basement mix is doing a little better. It looks like this one got flipped around here, so we're gonna spin this one around to match the others and just take a quick look. Here, down at the broccoli end, you've got pretty similar germination. You got 2 empty cells, but the seedlings aren't quite as far along. You get in here to the kale. Again, got 4 empty cells instead of just the 2, but you've got some pretty healthy germinations going. Peas, we've only got 4 out of our 10, so that's a pretty significant difference just in that short amount of time. And once you get over here to the borage, well, I think the borage may have a stronger case in the King's Mix. You got at least one that's significantly more developed, one other one that's a similar development here to the basement mix, but an equal number of cells germinated. So depending on your crop, you're probably going to be pretty well served in either of these mixes. Now we're going to move on to the Tuper, which I anticipated would have a little less germination rate right out of the gate, and if it was comparable, that we might see some slightly less healthy sprouts and seedlings because there's no nutritional value provided in that medium. So we're going to take a look here and see what we got. Oh wow, germination rates are strong, and that could have been anticipated. This is a nice light airy mix, a really perfect home for tender roots. So borage, we've got 3 strong starts, another one just kind of poking its tiny head out there, and another one not even quite poking its head out. It's creating a little bit of disturbance there. You can see the tiny specks of green hiding underneath. So I'm going to give that officially 5 cells germinated. So that's an improvement compared to the other 2 mixes. Get over here to the peas. Well, you're looking at 9 out of 10. Maybe not quite as developed on some of them as the basement mix, but that's a pretty good showing if you ask me. here again, you get to the kale. That is 10 for 10, super solid, pretty well developed, but you can see what I'm talking about here. It does appear that there's some yellowing already. They're just not greening out the way these other ones are because there's some nutrition in these other mixes, be it light or moderate. There's nothing here to feed the plant, so it's gonna start to show issues pretty quickly once those roots develop and there's nothing to eat. Get down here to our broccoli. Again, 10 out of 10 cells, so score 1 for the Tuper. That's a great germination rate if you ask me. It looks like we're probably gonna end up close to 100% in this tray by the time we're done. We'll check back in next week and get a little better number, but this is looking good. Then we're gonna move on to the final, last but not least tray, or at least we hope not least. This is the pure cocoa fiber, which a lot of people tend to use for germination. It's probably gonna hold a little more water, so I wonder. Oh, yeah, cocoa. So again, we'll start down here at the borage. You've got one solidly developed cell, one tiny little green spot poking out of the cocoa there. I'm gonna give that 1.5. It's not quite 2 compared to what we're saying on the rest of these. So, yeah, it tracks about to the other mixes. All right, we're coming over here to the peas. Well, I'm seeing 9 out of 10 with some sort of green. These two over here are just barely poking through. Again, you can see that tiny little tendril. It's just so slight, but these are gonna go. And you got one empty here, right in the middle. Once you get to the lacinato kale, again, we've got 2 empty cells, kind of tracking to the other mixes pretty consistently. These are a little less developed, I feel, than we're seeing in some of the others. Again, there's no nutrition in this mix and it holds more water, so maybe it's slowing down those roots a little. They're not running to stretch for finding extra water through those air spaces, so that might play a role here. And then you get down to the broccoli, and some of these are nice and well developed, but again, you're looking at 4 empty cells here. So that to me is the clear low man on the totem pole, so to speak, as far as germination rate. They look healthy. They're not showing the yellowing that some of the Tuper ones were here in the kale and the broccoli. I think we're still going to get some better germination as this dries down a little bit. Maybe we get a warmer day or two. I think we're going to see these germination rates come back to even. But for 1 week, it seems to me that Tuper's our clear winner in this germination test, given these crops and these circumstances. Circumstances change so much, crops are all different, so you may have a slightly different experience at home, but this will give you a little bit of guidance in how to choose your next seed germination mix when you're looking at the Royal Gold aisle at your local hydroponic or garden retailer. So there you have it, folks. This is where we stand 1 week from original planting in the wide variety of Royal Gold mixes. Clearly these are going to need a little bit of nutrition coming on, especially the Coco and Tuper. So next week we'll take a minute to guide you through making some light fertilizer or amendment tea with our Crown Jewels Grow product to give these just a quick touch of nutrition for their last week in these cells. So we're going to check back again next week, show you what our development level is, give them a little bit of that delicious compost tea, give them 1 more week, and move them on to their forever homes. Thank you so much for watching. This is Michael Beck, Growing with the Gold Garden Sessions. Thank you so much.